4th, 2023, approval of minutes, report of business from clerk and president, reorganization matters, ordinances on second reading, none, ordinance on first, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 17. We have resolutions. 1, re-adopt meeting schedule. 2, approve agenda amendments. 3, 4, and 5 are council designation to boards. 6, approve temporary budget. 7, designation of bank depositories. 8, fixed interest rate on delinquent taxes. 9, authorize cancellation of tax delinquencies. 10, authorize direct mailing charges. 11, authorize CFO to sell bond anticipation. 12, authorize tax collector to make tax refunds less than $10. 13, authorize city engineer to execute land use regulatory permits. 14, authorize city engineer and mayor to execute right of entry permits. 15, authorize city engineer to execute hold harmless indemnity agreements. 16, authorize tax assessor to file tax appeals. 17, designate public agency compliance officer. 18, resolution authorizing contracts with approved state contract co-op vendors. 19, authorize advertisement and receipt of bids. 20, authorize city engineer to sign site remediation project documents. 21, resolution authorizing the cancellation of various outstanding checks. 22, resolution to adopt bids on sale of real property. 23, approve payroll. 24, authorize refund for redeemed tax sale certificates. 25 is pulled. 26, designation of official newspaper. 27, authorize refund on several properties. 28, approve authorization to rebid for credit card processing. 29, approve amendment of resolution R-12253 with Sal Electric. 30, approve amendment of 2021 annual action plan. 31, approve professional service agreement with Big Mill. 32, approve resolution to refer amendment to the zoning ordinance to the planning board. 33, approve person-to-person transfer of liquor license. 34, approve award of contract with CVS. Items for discussion by council, public comment. The next meeting will be Wednesday, January 18th, 5:30 p.m. The meeting will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Castaneda.
Here.
Councilmember Egan.
Here.
Councilmember Fleming.
Here.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Here.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Here.
Council President Secor Ludwig.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been complied with and satisfied, and that the annual notice gives sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the Municipal Council of the City of New Brunswick has been filed with the City Clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board and posted in the back vestibule of City Hall, visible to the public through the windows in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Review. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing in a moment of silence for all those suffering around the world and all those who protect us every day. Thank you.
Motion to accept the minutes from November. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Castaneda.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Secor Ludwig.
Yes. Madam Clerk, has the correspondence been directed to the appropriate departments?
Yes, Madam President, the correspondence received by the City Clerk's office was forwarded to the appropriate departments for further action.
Thank you. I just have a few words I'd like to say this evening. I wish to thank my constituents, stakeholders, the administration, and my fellow councilmates for trusting my leadership skills and believing in my vision to run effective, efficient, and productive meetings over the past 2 years. Unfortunately, my time was drastically reduced and I was not able to fully experience the benefit of the position due to the pandemic. Nonetheless, we made it through without canceling a single meeting and remained committed to serving the needs of the community during that difficult time. Being a strong leader is not about placing responsibility on others. It is incumbent on having the answers and knowing the issues, relying upon the administration for guidance only. They are not here to answer the public. They are here to give us support. It is about alleviating and dissuading chaotic situations so the entire public and participants can enjoy the benefit of information in a clear and concise manner. It is making sure Robert's Rules of Order are followed, guiding the tone and remaining in control. And it is representing the council to the public in a respectful educated capacity, balancing each of these with the needs of our constituents. I was able to enact changes that put us back in line with true legislative procedures of conducting business, and I thank everyone for the astounding, overwhelming support and appreciation of this new direction. And to those very few who disagree with my approach, I leave you with several words from Teddy Roosevelt. For it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. I hope the changes I've made are carried through with the newly elected president. I am proud of the work we as a council do as a governing body, and I am proud of the city we serve. My commitment will not waver as I step down. I remain in the arena, focused on the issues, informed on all the business before us, and dedicated to making New Brunswick a better place for everyone. Congratulations to my re-elected and newly elected colleagues. Happy New Year to everyone. Let us move forward with conviction and compassion, making each day count more than the one before it. God bless our community, and God bless America. I will let the incoming president handle the pending business from the last meeting as he or she feels fit. And now we move into reorganization matters. Mr. Shammy, do we need a motion to elect you?
If that's the pleasure of the council, Madam Council President, you need a motion to elect a temporary chair.
Motion to elect City Attorney Shammy, the chairperson.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Castaneda.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sikora Ludwig.
Yes.
Having received the nomination and the approval, it is an honor and a pleasure to serve as temporary chairperson for the purposes of electing a new council president in this most historic time where the city council expands to 7 members. Personally, I think this will be a great future going forward for the city council and the city of New Brunswick. And having said that, we need a council president for the term of 2023 through 2024. Do we have a nomination for council president for the city council of the city of New Brunswick?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Rebecca Escobar for president of the City Council of New Brunswick.
Is there a second?
Second the nomination.
Councilman Egan is seconded. Any other nominations from the floor, from the council? Seeing none, close nominations. I'd ask Madam Clerk for a roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Castaneda.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Abstain.
Vote for yourself.
I don't want to vote for myself.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sikora Ludwig.
Yes.
Seeing the nomination has passed, I would ask that the clerk now swear in the newly elected council president for the oath of office for council president for the city council of the city of New Brunswick for the years 2023 and 2024.
Would you like to step forward, or would you like for me to come to you?
What would you like me to do, Madam Clerk?
Okay, would you like to look up? Or someone right hand up? All right. So I state your name.
I, Rebecca Escobar,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the
of
United States
the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the government established
in the United
in
States
the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of
all the duties of
Council President
Council President
of the City of New Brunswick
of the City of New Brunswick
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities,
so help me
so
God.
help me God.
Madam Council President, I hereby turn the meeting over to you, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It is a pleasure and to be able to serve as the council president for 2022, 2024, 23 and 24. And I just hope that as we start a new year, that we continue to work together as we have been doing it and in a peaceful and respectful manner. So thank you for your confidence. And before we go into further business, I would like to call a nomination for Council Vice President for 2023-24.
I nominate Kevin Egan for Vice President.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Castaneda,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Secor Ludwig,
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. So, Mr. Egan, we're going to go with the oath.
So we got to stand right here.
I state your name.
I, Kevin P. Egan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
I'm sorry, and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments
in
established
the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly
I
swear
do further solemnly
that
swear
I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of
all the duties of
Council Vice President
Council Vice President
of the City of New
of the
Brunswick
City of New Brunswick,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God. Just real quick, thank you all. I want to thank all my colleagues on the council for their continued support. I want to welcome my new members on the council and wish them a lot of luck and success. I also want to thank all the city employees for all their hard work that they do. We don't get a chance to thank all you guys all the time, department heads. Keep up the good work. I think we got a real good thing going in the city. And if, like I said, anybody has a problem here, I think just come down here and any department head puts it in their thing and we'll try to fix it for you. I think we do a good job of that. I wish everybody a happy new year and a healthy new year. Thank you all. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Before we go further into the business of the meeting, I would just would like to take this opportunity to thank our colleague Susan Sigurd-Lopez for her leadership during this part last 2 years. And especially, she said that, in COVID you didn't have a chance to lead, but you led in COVID. And we were able to continue providing this, leading our meetings effectively. So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I also would like to welcome our two newest members to the council, Manuel Castañeda and Pedra. I'm looking forward, all of us are looking forward to work with you, and we're excited that we have more voices in the council for the community. So thank you. We have an ordinance on first reading, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 17, Zoning, Chapter 17.02, Definitions, and Chapter 1704, Zoning District. This is just on first reading, so can I have an entertained motion?
Move the ordinance setting down January 18, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. Same date to be advertised.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Castaneda,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes. We're going now into resolutions. We have resolution 1 to 34, except 25. Before we go into the, prepare the meeting for public comment, I would like to open the floor to my fellow council members to see if they have any questions or any remarks related to any of the resolutions at this time. I just have one, I'm going to ask Mr. Dominguez if you could speak a little bit about resolution 32.
Certainly. So what Resolution 32 does is it refers the ordinance on first reading to the planning board for their review and report prior to the meeting on the 18th. This ordinance is regarding trucking terminals, container storage, and the like. We've revised the ordinance from last time. We've made it better in a lot of ways. We've removed trucking terminals as well from the proposal would remove them from the US 1 highway district, which is called the C5. The goal there is that there are already way too many residential districts nearby, plus natural residential development that's been occurring from the Sears site and the Edge and other properties there, that it's not a really good fit in the industrial zones. We would be making trucking terminals a conditional use rather than a permitted use, which is it right now. So we add a lot of conditions that are mitigations to make sure that if trucking terminals were to be approved, that they would be avoiding most of the problems, or all the problems hopefully, that are caused potentially by trucking terminals. And as well, we added in this version 2 new uses for the industrial zones that could be done by developers and property owners in the future should this go forward. One is for converting of industrial property into a solar farm, and alternatively into small-scale wind generation as well, should they feel the need to. So we've given some new options. We're mitigating some problems from a potential use, and we believe that the net result at the end will be a major positive for the city in curtailing possibly problematic use and advancing positive uses.
Thank you. And can you also, I have a question about number 30. If you could just talk a little bit about what is it that we are including, we are adding affordable housing development to the annual action plan for the city? So if you
No,
could
it's
just
fine.
talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I think this is more written out as a generality, the term here, but so just to explain what's happened. When the federal government passed the American Rescue Plan last year, the city of New Brunswick was allocated a hair over $1.9 million, and the resolution says a specific number, but it's literally just over it. And those funds are to be utilized for the development of affordable housing, primarily targeted at people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. And what's required is that we did an allocation plan, a draft allocation plan. We had to consult with several of the entities in the county and the city that operate in fields related to and directly impacting homelessness and the like. And we had to put this draft plan together, and we're submitting it to HUD for their review. This is how that works. We're required to draft that plan, and they've required it to be amended onto that 2021 annual action plan. Every year we get money from HUD in terms of home dollars. That's our annual entitlement allocation. It's usually $450,000 to $500,000. So we do have money every year for affordable housing development that we get from them. This is sort of a one-time deal of this $1.9 million, and this is just how they've required the process to go. So after this, we submit. If they have any issues, we'll have to go back and make some changes. If they're satisfied with it, we would have to publish, announcing that our plan is finalized, and we can amend it in the future should we choose, but that's what the submission is for, to program how we intend to utilize those funds, should HUD authorize it.
Thank you. Thank you for your answers. At this time, we're going to prepare to open the meeting to public comment on the resolutions only. If you have up to 5 minutes to address the council, one time off. If any members of the public wishes to speak on the resolutions, please approach the council, name and address. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council. Charlie Cradaville from Sedam Street, New Brunswick, editor of New Brunswick Today. And just want to start by saying it's an honor to address the council today for the first time with 7 members in history. So welcome to the new members and wish you all the best. I'm curious about some of these boards and commissions that the city council is going to send liaisons to. So I'd like to know, first of all, the Human Relations Commission, is that active? Have they had any meetings in the past 3 or 4 years?
I know for a fact that they have been meeting, yes. I was a member until recently, and Mr. Anderson continues to be a member of that Human Relations Commission.
Okay.
Yes.
So there were meetings last year?
We met last year. You were part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
They met last year, because I met a couple of times with them before I
Okay.
retired myself from the commission.
Okay, well, I've never had the pleasure of attending one of those meetings. I think it's an important commission, and I think it can do a lot more, and I'm excited to see one of the new members assigned to it, and look forward to hopefully having more public engagement and public involvement in those issues. On the Housing Authority, I know I've asked you before about this, but the Housing Authority is led by an executive director that has multiple other jobs. I see you're the assigned liaison. You know then that the Housing Authority canceled meetings last year. I think 5 different meetings got canceled, including a 4-month span when they didn't have any meetings. And I was just curious if you've been able to get to the bottom of the housing director's ability to hold other jobs, and whether that's something that you're going to allow to continue.
That has nothing to do with the resolutions, Mr. Carnival, so maybe the public comment portion, if you wanted to address it again, I might not have an answer.
Okay, I'll try to work it in. And then the final item, I just want to say on the Rent Control Board, I'm glad to see a council member assigned as a liaison now. I don't think that was the practice before, and I think that rent control is an area where the city can help its residents. As you know, 4 out of 5 residents here are tenants, and all too often they get exploited and abused, and I know that the city does have some protections in place, but they could be better, and I'd like to see them get better this year. I guess there were 2 other ones I wanted to make a brief comment on. On number 30, the affordable housing development, I just wanted to emphasize the urgency to get housing for people who have none. As you know, we have hundreds of people with no home at all. They're extremely vulnerable, and all the research has shown that the best way to help those folks is to get them housing first. And so I hope that the vast majority of this $1.9 million will go towards facilitating the construction of emergency housing for our homeless population. And I think that was the only other one I wanted to speak on in the resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the resolutions only? You want to announce?
Yes, thank you, Somerset Street. I would just like to say Happy New Year's, everyone. Welcome back. And I just have to say, I'm getting a good feeling that due to we're with you, President, due to where I know you have patience, due to where, and talking to everyone, I think that things can be much better than it was than before. Thank you. But okay, I will get to number 30. I would say affordable housing as well, due to where one thing I will speak on due to where it's needed more, and I don't like due to where to see how the police department please let me just finish with it. Escorts a lot of people who are homeless from one area, and then due to where it makes it look like the count is down on it, and due to where it, like I said, I spoke at the county about this, how now they're saying the count is down on homelessness in New Brunswick, which basically all like I said, with moving one location to another, you just cleared Boyd Park out. Now, was that so that to make it look like it's less homeless?
I want to hear you.
Well, like I said,
Going to the resolutions, and I listen on the public comment.
please, I hope we do get more affordable housing. Like I said, as a person who passes through majority of New Brunswick every day on foot, due to where I see much more, and like I said, please, due to where we have way more homelessness than the people, that what's being listed, and it's going to the county, due to where, so like I said, please, that's my main concern about helping people due to where I know how time is getting hard as well. Then also, I would like to speak on, please, with number 22. So what is, so due to where, please, and one reason why I'm gonna speak on this again, due to where let's not let the same thing happen due to where now, ever since 133 Jones Avenue has been knocked down and put up for sale, now going through the same exact situation over here on Oxford Street by the same owner. So please, like I said, wow, going through with the same thing, please, do I have to bring the pictures down here to show you the doggone rats running up and down? Please, the same owner. So like I said, due to where we never said was that money gonna go towards the city for how much you paid to clean up over there, due to where, what? Like I said, Mayor Cahill's very good buddy of his, but like I said, let's not the same thing please happen due to where, wow, within the 2 weeks time, and I'm pretty sure Ms. Brittany from Garbage can tell you due to where all the illegal stuff. It's part of the resolution. Like I said, same owner, due to where you know why I'm saying it.
You're selling the property, but I hear you, but at the public comment, you could come up and tell me all about that. Right now, we're talking about the selling of the property. Thank you.
And then my last thing, that's with 3, due to where, honestly, due to where I'm trying to understand with each one of you council members, are you telling me due to where maybe this is something new to me, due to where, are you saying that these each one of you council members are going to be like working with these departments as far as information and?
What it means is that we are the liaisons, yeah. We are there, we are the liaison to the different departments that you see here, the different commissions. So we are there, we listen, we're not there to vote. We're just there to listen and see what's going on and to offer also our opinion or anything that is happening, that if it's needed.
Well, like I said, due to
We attend the meetings also.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm so glad to see, like I said, that you're in charge of with the Housing Authority, and due to where, like I said, that's the situation due to where I do know you're a person where you go around and investigate things and try to make sure things are right. So I have to say, I am glad to see that you're in charge of that. Thank you.
I'm not in charge.
Well, excuse me, I'm not saying in charge of, but you know what I was saying, that you're with that department.
The liaison.
Where that's needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the resolutions only?
Eric Niddle, Old Bridge, New Jersey. I guess it's point 30, I don't have it in front of me, regarding the affordable housing. I guess what's the definition of affordable in this case? Because technically a lot of New Brunswick apartments are under affordable housing, but rents have been raised twice, I believe, in the past year. So I guess that's like, how do we define affordable? Is this a number, or is this a percentage based off of something, off of median salaries, things of that nature?
Mr. Dominguez.
I don't have the whole breadth of what the definitions are for this. There's a bunch of different groups, but generally speaking, we're targeting, and by we, I mean the project and the ARP funds for this. 0 to 60% of area median income, with a focus in the 0 to 30 and 30 to 50 range.
Some of these houses were supposed to be dedicated to homeless people. It said how many houses, what is the amount? Like, is it like X amount of apartments? Has that been decided on in the plan? Has that been talked about yet? Because I think that's
Mr. Dominguez, if you could, I know that this is just, we are putting this into the plan and we're submitting. Do you have all those details yet?
Those details don't exist because we have to submit this plan on more or less how we're going to spend it. And then once we have the money approved, we can solicit or receive applications from developers who say, we want to build X amount of units, we're looking for this much money. Until such a time as that, it's unlikely. Realistically speaking, we're not entirely sure how many units it's going to develop. It's impossible to tell.
So that will be in the future that we will have that information.
What's the time? Understood. But what's the timetable, I guess, on both, the project itself? Let's say HUD approves everything, approves the funding, and then what's the timetable on both receiving this information, the plan getting more detailed, and as well as the plan being completed?
Yes, it's fine. So the plan, that should be in the next 3 to 6 months, depending on HUD timelines and what they request. After that, depends on how long it takes us to find a partner to develop the funds with, develop the units with those funds. So that's, you know, I'd be guessing and hoping, and so I don't know on that front. It depends.
So what I say is like that Mr. Dominguez says, this is just to submit it to HUD, you know, to make sure that it's approved, and I'm pretty sure that this is something that we all believe that we need to move forward, so I know that we will do everything in our hands, and I'm talking about the police department, to ensure that this happens as quickly as we can make it happen.
Understood. I guess what I think would need to be defined for the future is like, how do we define affordable housing, like, and especially in a city where rents continue to rise, in a place where people who are low incomes are consistently driven out and things like that. So it's like the median income is technically raised because the people coming in have more money in their pocket than the people who got their houses bulldozed and things of that nature. So I think that's something in the future that should be clearly defined, probably in a dollar amount and something like that, but that's just my suggestion. And I think I'll give my time back.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? Which resolution is the affordable housing one? I forgot, my bad.
The resolution number 30 is an.
Yeah, so this is in regards to resolution 30. And my question is,
I'm sorry, sir.
my name's Luke.
Your name and address?
5 Jonesdale Avenue. I'm a Metuchen and I'm a Rutgers student. So my question is, even with this HUD money, how are we to know that it's going to be made into equitable, safe housing? Personally, I've seen homes alongside the Raritan, whether it be those who are on Section 8 or those who still struggle to pay rent in these, you know, lower housing controlled, whatever, who have encountered roaches, bed bugs, mold in the carpet, mold in the ventilation, illegal dumping in the dumpsters that have led to rats. These people, a lot of them have children and are literally in fear for their lives due to possible disease, health complications with mold, all of that. And all of these issues have largely fell under deaf ears to, you know, landlords. I know that the kind of like housing offices a lot of the times like aren't even staffed with people. And even with this affordable housing money, how are we going to make sure that it's made into safe, equitable housing is my question.
Mr. Dominguez.
Well, for starters, obviously the funds would be going most likely toward the development of new housing, so it would have to be all new modern codes, et cetera, et cetera. But HUD also requires us every 2 to 3 years to actually go in personally, inspect, and look through all the documentation and visibly inspect a random selection of the units that were subsidized with the funds to ensure compliance with the checklist that they provide. So we go through and we make sure that all the windows are properly sealed, that there's no visibility of pests, et cetera. And so there's an obligation for for 20 years for the city to go and operate and investigate those properties from time to time.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the resolutions? No, the resolutions? Somebody's coming?
Hi, my
Name
name
and address, please.
is Zingerman, Real from Upon Road. So I was wondering, as far as once the contract is actually filled, I was wondering we're saying we're trying to get this application or whatever, actually passed through, right? Like that's what's happening right now. So after the fact, once contractors are being found to actually build those houses or whatever, is the public gonna have is that gonna be presented to this council? Is the public gonna have an ability to kind of discuss those plans? Because I'm kind of I'm not really familiar with the procedure here, and I guess I'm worried that if we're not able to actually, I want to make sure that the public's able to comment on this plan so that if they're unsatisfactory, there's issues, we're still able to make our voices heard.
Mr. Dominguez want to answer that, but they usually come.
If the project is a new project that we've never heard of before and it needs to go through, site plan approval, et cetera, through the planning board, it would be subject to, a public hearing, et cetera. It might involve, depending on certain uses, might have to go back for council for certain authorizations. But generally speaking, unless it's something brand new that no one's heard of before, that's not seen an approval before, it probably will not, again, have a public portion after the plan is fully adopted by HUD and we publish that the plan's been adopted, et cetera.
All right. Well, you can imagine my dismay as a member of the public that I'm unable to kind of comment on the public housing for the public after the designs are actually put forward. If we're only allowed to speak on whether or not we're going to build it in the first place, that seems absurd. Thanks.
Move the resolution. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Castaneda.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Yes.
Councilmember Secor Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Before we go into the public comment portion of the meeting, I would like to ask our Business Administrator, Michael Julius, to give an update on Code Blue and some of the concerns that were raised at the last meeting. If you could give us an update, please.
Yes, congratulations, Council President, Vice President, members, reorganization, new members. In December, we were made aware that the Code Blue site needed some love and attention. The city's public property staff and the Code Blue staff have met together, came up with some new protocols to maintain the facility, including cleaning, storage, and upgrading the fixtures to prevent vandalism. And it seems to be working well. We visited the site after each Code Blue in the last grouping of Code Blues we had, and we'll continue to monitor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any members of the council would like to make any remarks to the public or anything, address anything before going to the public portion coming up at the beginning? Okay. So we're getting ready to do the public portion. Anybody who would like to be part of the public comment, you have 5 minutes, one time up. Please approach the microphone, state your name and address.
Good evening once again, Council President, members of the Council, Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. I want to start just by talking big picture about the cost of living here. This council approved a 9% increase in people's water bills last month. This council jacked up the cost of parking fines. And by its inaction and inattention to the Rent Control Board and the Rent Control Ordinance, tenants in thousands of rent-controlled units around the city can now face rent increases of up to 5.5% this coming year, the highest in over a decade. I know that some folks spoke to you about your powers and how you can change that and how you can reform the rent control ordinance to give either yourselves or the rent control board members some discretion in what the annual increase is. Currently, the ordinance is fixed and it does not give anybody the power to override it except you. So I would ask you to consider doing that in the interests of starting to move the opposite direction and make it more affordable to live here, because unfortunately these costs add up and it leads to more people being homeless, it leads to more people leaving the city, and it leads to a less inclusive community here. So I think we can do better, and I hope this year the council will look at the rent control ordinance and make improvements to it. I also have to talk about the cost of corruption. And Middlesex County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund found a new accountant after their old accountant, Samuel Klein and Company, and after a scathing review, discovered a $27 million deficit on their books. A huge deficit that the taxpayers of New Brunswick are already on the hook for $4.5 million for, possibly more. And apparently, I learned that the JIF is using taxpayer money from New Brunswick and its other members to defend a sexual harassment lawsuit against one of the council members, Mr. Glenn Fleming. And I asked at the last meeting if this was true, if the city and its taxpayers are funding his defense, and I couldn't get a straight answer. I followed up with a number of people, including the prior council president, the city attorney, could not get a straight answer, so I had to go to the JIF to get them to confirm it. But I can confirm, and also Mr. Fleming's lawyer told a judge that the city has indemnified him. This raises serious concerns. I'm excited to work with the new council members and the ones who we've come to know each other so well over the years, but we need nothing short of full transparency regarding taxpayer funds. If this lawsuit is being funded with taxpayer money, the taxpayers are owed an explanation for why. Indeed, Judge Corman ruled that this lawsuit has nothing to do with Councilman Fleming's position. And he said, in his opinion, he wasn't entitled to have his legal bills paid by the city. And I encourage everybody who hasn't seen it yet to go to newbrunswicktoday.com and read my article published today about this, with all the quotes and the videos, and you can see for yourself this deception that's going on, where Councilman Fleming's personal legal matter, something that's troubling in its own right, is now becoming the city's problem. And lawyers are getting paid with our money to defend him against really problematic claims that are brought against him. And so I'd like, Madam Council President, can someone here address this? Can someone here say who made the decision to indemnify him and why?
Hey, Mr. Shanley, would you like to answer that question, please?
Well, I can answer the question. Obviously, I'm not going to speak about pending litigation. Quite frankly, I don't know anything about the pending litigation, even if I would be asked. As city employees and city officials, every particular individual that falls into that particular category is owed a defense by the city of New Brunswick Joint Insurance Fund. Mr. Cradaville, I think, asked at his last meeting whether the city was paying it. Mr. Cradaville's been around long enough. He knows that there hasn't been a resolution adopted authorizing lawyer X or lawyer Y to represent Mr. Fleming. That has not happened. The money is not coming directly from the city. However, the city has an obligation, and every complaint, every allegation, to provide a defense to the extent that those particular allegations fall within coverage, to provide that defense. Every complaint that comes in, whether it's against a sanitation worker, whether it's against a police officer, goes to the Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, and they make a determination of whether or not they're going to cover it, not cover it, cover some of it, cover none of it. And if they decide to cover, that's the obligation that we have to that particular employee or official of the city. That's exactly what's going on. Mr. Cradaville wants to say we're using taxpayer dollars. Indirectly, I suppose we have an assessment every year that we pay into the fund. This is true, this is accurate. With respect to, I don't know what he refers to about judge's decision. I'm not involved in the litigation, nor is anyone in my department. Respectfully, I think judges all have their own opinion. Quite frankly, they could opine as to whatever they want. But that has nothing to do with the JIF's determination as to whether or not they're going to provide any coverage. So I think that answers Mr. Cradaville's inquiry. And it's no different with a council member as it would be with an employee of the city who causes some action or inaction in the course of their duties or responsibilities or in their capacity as that particular employee.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, the time is up.
Thank you. May I invite the council? Yeah, sure.
My understanding was that Judge Foreman also said that it would necessarily be up to the city too, right? So you didn't say that. You made it sound like, hey, totally, gotta be, the city kind of deal. But he also said that if they want to do it, they can do it.
Right,
And
it's your choice.
Yes.
May I invite, yes, may I just make the council an invitation I just wanted to share with the council and everybody else that Empower Our Neighborhoods is going to be having a meeting at the Hungarian Heritage Center, 7 p.m. on January 10th. Everyone's welcome to be a part of this. It's a community organization. Thank you.
Name and address, please.
My name is Owen. My address is 100 Montgomery Street, and I'm here to speak about the Code Blue program. I came on December 21st to report concerns about the program to the city, and I'm coming back to share what I've learned about how the city handles requests and maintains transparency about its programs. I submitted my information formally through a Google form to be a volunteer for the program, and informed Mr. Keith Jones that I'd be volunteering on December 13th and December 20th. With other volunteers, I brought hot drinks to the center, cleaned the bathrooms, which were filthy and unsanitary, and I talked with residents, regular residents and staff about needs and issues at the program. There was a sink that had been broken for weeks. Apparently management was aware of this and hadn't responded to the issue. The sheets appeared rarely, and residents told me they were almost never cleaned. Some of our volunteers actually would take the laundry out and do it themselves. The bathrooms, as I mentioned, were filthy, unsanitary. I mopped them on occasion, cleaning piss off the floor. And I know from other volunteers that on one night to the next, there was no cleaning. On December 30th, on December 21st, I came to the council to share these concerns and was assured by at least one of you personally that you'd look into it. On December 30th, my partner and I volunteered again, letting Keith know we would be there that night. We're amazed to see many of these issues addressed. The center was cleaned amazingly, the bathroom is fixed, there was an abundance of clean blankets I had never seen before on any of my prior visits. The staff were as surprised and delighted as I that the city was taking the responsibility of managing the center in their hands. However, only an hour or so into my shift, I was handed a phone by the staff to speak with Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones informed me that I had not followed the protocol for any of my volunteering visits, and that he was asking me to leave the premises. I took a recording of this call with my partner to ensure that I understood the rules and how I was violating them. Mr. Jones also, in our ensuing interaction, in which he showed up personally to the center to kick me and my partner out, told us that there had been problems with volunteers. And in our conversation, came to realize that I was one of these volunteers that was causing a problem. By reporting the conditions that I had found at the city. Mr. Jones also informed me that volunteers would now be banned for the rest of the season. Where Mr. Jones saw a problem, I saw an improvement in conditions for the houseless community. If this is true, that the volunteers are the ones responsible for holding the city accountable, and volunteers are now banned, I would strongly encourage the city to more closely examine this program and to do better at being transparent and monitoring the conditions now that volunteers may be banned from reporting these conditions. I have no reason to expect that conditions will stay the way they are, and have every reason, from what I learned talking to residents who come to the shelter on Code Blue nights, that it will go exactly back to how it was before. Without volunteers, this is what I fear. Addressing the needs of the houseless community may not be profitable for New Brunswick, and is definitely not the highest priority, but I'm asking all city officials to take note that this issue does matter to our community and cannot remain hidden or ignored by banning volunteers. Thank you.
Mr. Julius,
Yes.
can you please follow up on the allegations of what you just said, and so I will have a report for the next meeting?
I've made some notes, I will, yes.
Thank you.
Hi, again, my name is Dan Lynn, here from Milltown.
We are not able to understand maybe because you have two masks on, so either you need to put it out so we are able to
I
hear
can
you
totally
better.
take off one of them. My name is Bingham Lynn, 304 Milltown. Okay, I'm here to talk about Code Blue, and I will. Don't worry, I will. Me Too is like a year, like, Me Too's happening right now. Me Too just happened. I honestly, like, I had notes about what I wanted to say. I'm just, every day, more and more horrified, like, city funds to defend against sexual harassment. Wow. I feel shame, like, I need to take a shower, like, I don't know how you guys, good luck sleeping, I guess. I'm sure it won't be an issue, but, okay. That aside, okay, anyway, Code Blue. So, I came last month to speak about the Code Blue conditions, to which I was told I should go volunteer and walk the walk. So I did that. I volunteered 4 or 5 times, if I'm correct, over the last month. And I'm pretty much just going to repeat the same things that Owen just said. I mean, I'm also kind of, like, there is updates given, but apparently whatever Owen was talked about wasn't known, which I don't know how, like, you walk in and you find out. I don't know why the public is being called upon to volunteer to share and investigate the conditions when the government should be doing that, given their government-run facilities. It was disgusting. I don't know if it's like this attitude of like, well, it's good enough for homeless people. Like, I wouldn't sleep in there. It smelled like piss. Like, it was disgusting. Like, nothing was washed. We had to get volunteers to wash the stuff for us. So I'm gonna have to drive out at like 12 or 1 a.m. to just do, like, at a laundromat, spend their own money to wash the sheets. So I guess, like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I can ask questions here. I would love to get some clarity about the $90K of funding. I'm truly, honestly asking, like, as a resident, I don't understand where the money is going because, like, nothing was, the few times I came, nothing was washed up until the last moment when Owen came and everything had been done in a quick second as if it was like there was a freak out or a panic about it. I don't understand that. I would love to, like, am I allowed to ask questions right now?
Could I ask a question? If we have an answer, I will answer for you.
Yeah, I'd love to, what does the $90K get spent on? Because it did not seem like it was being spent on cleaning. It didn't seem like facilities were being fixed. It literally, like, I had gone there multiple weeks in a row and nothing had changed. Like, I'd gone there like 2 nights in a row at one point, or like a few nights in between, and just nothing had changed. Like, it looked identical. Everything was left, like, you know, beds were like dirty and left on like the cots, and the cots were all kind of up and off, like half over and everything. So how is this, like, where's the funds going? Like, for Code Blue, the $90K that's set aside in the municipal budget, where is that going? Like, what is that being spent on?
Mr. Julius, do we have that answer? Are you able to answer? Can you please answer that?
Sure, I could answer broadly. The salaries for the employees who monitor Code Blue are reimbursed through that grant. The purchase of supplies for Code Blue are reimbursed through that grant. The cleaning materials, so it's all through that grant.
But that's confusing to me because it's not being cleaned. So I can understand salaries, sure. I mean, I don't know how many salaries are working there. I don't know what kind of wages are being paid. I can't do the math quickly, but even at minimum wage, I don't think that's going to make $90K for the number of people I've interacted with there. But, like, I don't get it. If you're saying there's, like, these cleaning services or these supplies being paid for at this $90K, at least over the month I went there, over December, a winter month, where you'd expect this to be important, like, this program would be in action. And this is a program for winter months, right? Like, it's held very selectively over winter on a few select nights, unlike other counties like Hudson or Sussex, which have these 24/7 and have a much lower population and far fewer resources and budgetary, like, resources available to fund these things. This is only open a few nights a week or a few nights a month over the winter, okay? So we've already cut it down to that point where it's not available, like, even below 32 degrees if it doesn't get below a certain point. So I don't understand where the money is going. And, like, forget, like, as a concerned person who cares about people, like a person with a heart or a conscience who cares about my homeless friends, like my community members, as a citizen, right, who, like, has taxes going into the city, where is the money going? I don't understand, because, like, this answer about cleaning services, clearly it's not adequate for me because they're not being used, because I volunteered like you guys asked me to, and clearly nothing was being done. We were bringing food, we were bringing resources, we were talking with people. It was just such a miserable experience. Like, I can't imagine what it'd be like if I had to sleep in those conditions. It was horrible just sitting in them. And I don't understand how like the city is able to put $20 million towards police funding, towards like brutalizing people, when 90K is like, you have all this money available and you're not even using it in the first place. I don't understand the city's priorities when you're able to fund this much towards violence but unable to take care of the residents who be there. If you want to be civil, use my tax dollars for what you say you're using them for. You're all collectively responsible as a council to put this budget forward for these issues. It's shameful.
I'm sorry, excuse me for a second. We are more than happy, to hear you. But when your 5 minutes is up, I'm asking you just respectfully to just respect the process. 5 minutes is 5 minutes. And if you would like to talk a little bit more, ask me, and I will let you know if it's possible. Not to continue talking. So go ahead.
Okay, so
Name and address, please.
my name is Mackenzie. I live at 100 Montgomery Street, Highland Park. And I volunteered at Code Blue twice. The second time was the last time that volunteers were allowed in the building. That night we were banned, as Owen has said. And I came as a concerned citizen after hearing about how conditions within the Code Blue Center were awful. There was news of dirty sheets, bloody sheets, dirty bathrooms, a broken sink, lights on all night, rules against bringing food in, even for a diabetic man who needed it, and other concerns that brought me there to see the Code Blue Center for myself. I also wanted to see how Code Blue was run so that I could encourage churches in the area to open their spaces, which are in plenty, to house programs like Code Blue. So I came as a person who wanted to learn about how the program was run. And like Mr. Jones, I am a person of the church. He says he's concerned about houseless community, but I don't see what he's doing to help them. I was also very disappointed with what the city itself of New Brunswick was doing. Specifically, I'd heard that large amounts of funding, like Ming was just talking about, were not being accounted for. So I would like transparency about why the funding is not being given. Specifically, the $20,000 grant that was turned down some years ago and the $90,000 grant for Middlesex County. Apparently, the funding was turned down, so I've read, because staff would be required to be trained and to run the program at a more frequent operation. And I don't see the problem, as houselessness isn't a problem only on Code Blue nights. Like I was saying, in 2021, a $90,000 grant from Middlesex County was given, and I'm going to ask again, where is that money now if Mr. Jones is apparently needing to pay out of pocket, as has been said on social media? Public records say that no money has been spent, and Jones was quoted in an article written by Chuck O'Donnell in 2021 saying, so now we get $90,000, hopefully very soon, over several years. Where in those years, where is the money? When I came to volunteer, I filled out an online form as a volunteer and showed up before 7 p.m. when Code Blue starts to see what I would be asked to do. After explaining to worker there that I had filled out the online form, I was told to go upstairs and wait at a table. I talked with a couple people staying there that night and waited to be told what I could do to help. I was in the bathroom and came out to hear my partner sounding concerned to be speaking with Mr. Jones on the phone, who seemed to be asking what we were doing there, and it felt like we were in trouble. So I hit the record button on my phone to be sure I understood the details. Mr. Jones then came to have a conversation with us and subsequently kicked us out of the warming center, though we had broken no protocols, and we were, as far as we knew, doing everything we needed to do to be there. So we also need transparency about what protocols are for volunteers. The fact of the matter is that it seemed Mr. Jones was concerned about volunteers and concerned citizens such as myself, and saying that we had an agenda. But I'm telling you, the only agenda we had was to help. When our chosen government officials aren't meeting the needs of our fellow citizens of the houseless community, As we've heard about and witnessed from them and the poor conditions ourselves confirmed, it's our responsibility as citizens to inquire why and to try to better the system. In terms of bettering the system, I would like transparency about funding for the Code Blue, as I've explained, since Mr. Jones has stated again, it's coming out of his pocket. We're on the same team, I hope, and that there's enough money to go around. With more funding, I would like to see what the city could do to provide a place to sleep every night for the houseless community, every night, to keep Code Blue open every night and not just on cold nights. I'd also like to see a trained social worker on site and a later checkout time, since 7 a.m. kicks people back out into the cold and other public buildings don't open until later. With more funding, I'd also ask if additional amenities such as a washer and dryer could be provided, and to expand the shower services in the city from 2 days a week for 2 hours a day to 5 days a week for 6 hours a day with multiple locations. There is so much more we can be doing, and everyone here knows that. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson, you want to?
Just a matter of record or whatever, the Interfaith Church Association is having, 1 week, 2 weeks between them, housing some of the homeless and everything else like that. So we certainly appreciate all those churches that are doing that.
Yes. I was going to say that. Yes, name and address, please.
Eric Niddle, 28 Exeter Street, Old Bridge, New Jersey. Work in the city, I volunteer in the city, and reiterating what's been stated already is that there is a massive need for transparency all the way around, because I think this is just utterly unprofessional. Because when I came on December 7th, like was stated earlier, we were told to walk the walk, to volunteer with it. I never had the opportunity to, because when I sent my email in to volunteer, it was never answered. As I think almost every other volunteer's email was not answered. We were told that protocol was broken, but there is no explanation of what this protocol is at all. Like, it is truly just left to ignorance, and then, oh, you broke it. It feels wholly arbitrary at the end of the day. So I just need a matter of transparency. And like we said, the biggest one is the money at the end of the day, because this is from December to March. That is it. And we have precedent of counties open from that whole time period. There's no reason why this city shouldn't be able to do that at this point. This city that has probably easily the largest homeless population in Middlesex County at this point. So the fact of the matter is that there needs to be reasoning why it's the case. Because if we have that money then in the budget, or if we have the money in the budget for other things, then we should be putting it to helping the people that desperately need it at this point, instead of putting them in filth and then expecting them to thank us for it. Because I think that's a vile way to treat people. Genuinely. Vile. I think this is all just, I truly don't understand how, because the way this was positioned, was stated earlier, there was a social media post by Mr. Jones, who I wish he was here today, because I wish he knew that because he took it all extremely personal, when at the end of the day, this is a critique of city officials, and this is not just a critique of him, this is a critique of all of you, it's a critique of the mayor. This is utterly, inhumane, truly inhumane. Think about that for a second. Y'all have the opportunity to change this stuff, and instead you just sit there, with these expressions that just, this Band-Aid on a bullet wound, look, we cleaned it, we did this. That is so asinine that it's oh, you did it now, we're gonna pack up and go away. We're not gonna make a big stick at city council now because you cleaned it this one time. I'm honestly, flabbergasted by all of, the pomp and circumstance, because we love the nature. Don't talk over 5 minutes, please. We're breaking this decorum while people are out there suffering. Truly, at the end of the day, this is human suffering that is being expanded upon. So I don't know if it is just an issue of lethargy, if it's an issue of corruption, if it's an issue of outright hostility at this point. But this needs to be, not even addressed, corrected. This is truly behavior that needs correction at this point. I really don't, I don't know where this needs to start. Because truly, if Mr. Jones is paying out of pocket for this stuff, if he has to buy a plunger to fix the toilets himself, then systemically there is a huge issue here. That makes no sense. That if he's the man running this, he's doing all the emails, he has no time to do this, then that is a huge failure from the municipal standpoint, from a county standpoint, from the whole thing. It's broken. So where are we gonna address this? Like, we need a diagnostic, because this is completely broken. Is this city a lemon, or can you fix it? Because that's what we're asking for. And we're not asking for a lot. What she asked for was not a lot at the end of the day. This is like, when we're looking at this, like at the whole budget of the city, all this development money that comes in here, that is pennies compared to everything. I'm getting back my time, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Holly Josephs. My address 44 South First Ave. So I've been working, volunteering in and staff at homeless shelters. I've been at 5 different shelters in my life. And the conditions in New Brunswick were like by far the worst conditions I've ever seen across shelters. It was horrible to see. Like, not even basic cleaning. It's mind-blowing. And like, these are residents of our city. People who are being kicked out from place to place. They don't have a place to go. And if we can't even provide a place to go, how do we criminalize just kicking them from one spot to another? So I've been volunteering at Code Blue Shelter in New Brunswick twice now and spoke to a bunch of the residents. The most common thing that I heard from them was that longer hours in the morning would be really, really important because they're kicked out at 7 a.m. And I don't know about you guys, but last week when it was like 12 degrees outside, I didn't even want to be outside for 5 minutes. And we're kicking them out at 7 a.m. The location of that place is not near any other public space that they could be indoors. Not even a private, like there's not even a McDonald's nearby. And a lot have mobility issues, so where do they go? And we've heard that they're being kicked out from place to place. So a lot of people said they look for that gap between the time the shelter closes at 7 to 10 a.m. when the library is open. So where should they go from 7 to 10 a.m.? It's really horrible that citizens of our own city don't have a place. And it's so cold out there. Also, we know that the neighboring counties and some cities have Code Blue shelters open for the entire winter, every single night. Here, the people are saying they don't even know if it's going to be open. We've also heard there have been nights where it's below 32 degrees and the shelter here does not open up. So there needs to be transparency on when it's going to open. We heard also that in the past there was an announcement, like a truck going through the city to announce to the people who are outside that it would be open that night, and that has stopped. So yeah, I just want to say I think the conditions are completely inhumane, and also how can we expect anybody in that situation to better their own conditions? If they're in a space where the lights are on all night, then they get kicked out at 7 a.m., have to deal with the cold. It's not even giving anybody a fighting chance to improve their conditions to a place where they're having a quality of life that we should be expecting for every citizen in our city. I'll give my time back.
Name's Felix, 1017 Belmont Court. Main questions at the day. If there are these consistent issues across, I guess, a significant amount of homeless population within the city, poor handling of Code Blue, we looked into, I believe it was looked into in 2019, that about only $6,000 of the grant, $6,000 of the grant was used for payment to one person from the Code Blue grant. Wondering how much has been allocated from NJDCA and HUD for this year for New Brunswick in regards to Code Blue, how much has been spent. Why have you not hired more employees for these concerns? If you're going to be kicking out volunteers, hiring more employees would allow you to do more of the training. It would allow you to not have to rely on volunteers, or if you're not going to hire more employees, you should return to both volunteers. And then a lot of these issues start to tie together. That having this high homeless population comes from having very poor housing conditions. A lot of the affordable housing programs that have been implemented around various cities, sometimes they are workable, sometimes they're just giveaways to developers, relying on hoping that the developers will allocate it to be actually affordable and equitable. If you do fail to do well with this new affordable housing grant, then you're going to have more homeless problems in the future. As mentioned earlier, like a lot of homeless will consider, like for example, the library as an option to go afterwards. This will reduce general, I guess, discomfort in the city between more middle class population that makes up the large population around Rutgers area or Rockwood Johnson and more professional areas, and outside of the city. that all these issues will continue to tie together, that it causes sanitation problems come from your poor handling of the sanitation department and understaffing, underfunding, and that causes housing issues. Almost all these things are tied, and it's just a general, just almost everything in the city seems to be poorly run in some degree or another. Addressing almost any one of these to start, and then addressing the second thing and the third thing would improve things, but if you don't, you're just going to continue to just bounce into each other. That, for example, mentioned earlier was even public or affordable housing. That's HUD with HUD grants, with Section 8, often has a lot of rats and mice inside of it, roaches, poor maintenance. So over time this runs down. You have like say 1.9 million, your spending portion of that for maintenance. You will then proceed to raise the rents on people. Some people get kicked out, evicted, that adds to the homeless population. You poorly handle the homeless situation with poor code blue situation, insufficient affordable housing, you have a homeless population grow. This adds to just general concerns around crime or public safety, causes more rifts and divisions within the community. Addressing any of these things would improve things, but for a long time it seems like there's been nothing of it. So to start with one thing, say to return to code blue, for example, hire more employees, use more of the grants. I'm suspecting the grants are not just $6,000. In the last year, this was 2019, this is, I believe Murphy signed this into bill around 2018 or 2019. How much has been, I guess the main specific question for now is, how much funding was allocated for this year for Code Blue? And then how much has been used? And why are you not hiring more employees? In regards to a more broader question is more specifics in regards to affordable housing, what that means here. And then just general mismanagement of a lot of things that the city has some control over. For example, handling of its like mismanagement of employees and mistreatment of employees. Why are you not improving equipment for sanitation? This affects housing conditions. Why are you mistreating the employees? Why are you underfunding them, underpaying them, and understaffing them? That's it.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Doug Leung. I'm a resident of Highland Park, New Jersey, and I've lived here for about a couple months. I'm a Rutgers grad student, and I'm also an Army veteran. I just got out of the Army as an officer recently. So as a veteran living here, or going to school here, you know, I feel very welcome. I see like the Hub City Heroes stuff all the time on the street next to the Blaustein School, which is where I go to school. However, this Code Blue stuff is indicative of the city's lack of respect for veterans, especially houseless veterans. So I'll kind of give you an anecdote. So on December 13th, I volunteered with Owen, who's in the back, who spoke earlier, and noticed, and we spoke to an individual who didn't have a leg, was a veteran, Marine Corps, I believe, 2003. And, you know, he was part of the system, so I know that these people are there. And this guy, you know, was in a wheelchair and had to live in these conditions. Like Owen said, this is before everything got cleaned up. There was piss on the grounds. It was pretty awful. So I asked that you guys take a look at this, and like everybody's been saying, like transparency is key here. Like this $90,000 thing, where's it going? We need an itemized list. I think everybody can agree that an itemized list of this stuff needs to be put out to the public or something like that, because we have so many questions and none of them are getting answered by this discussion here. So I ask that you guys address it with a simple thing like that. That's my ask. But beyond that, I would like to address the affordable housing issue with the inclusionary zoning and stuff like that. So 30 to 60% of area median income is not enough. So for example, NYCHA, the Housing Authority of New York, is looking at potentially converting commercial housing and vacant buildings to house the homeless. Why don't we take a look at that to potentially spend that and allocate that 1.9 million? Because we all know real estate developers are just going to create luxury housing and allocate maybe 20% of that to affordable income. So that's all I got to say about that. The last thing, somebody in a municipal vehicle on my way here yelled at me, and I quote, so I'm sorry about the profanity, but they yelled at me to watch out for fucking traffic, and I think that's unacceptable that a city official did that in a vehicle owned by the city. Like, what is that? Come on.
Do you have a plate number?
Yeah, I do. I have a picture of it. So, absolutely.
Excuse me, let me see, I hold up the meeting, no from
City
there. So
engineer.
if you have somebody who just, after the meeting.
I mean, if you want to talk to me right now, like, talk to me.
I'm
Go
gonna,
here.
sir, right after the meeting, if you could stay 5 minutes, give me the information, and we will look into that.
No problem. Thanks.
Thank you.
You should have said it. You should have said it, Mr. Benesky.
How old Brendan?
Hello, I'm Brian. I live at 8 Wharton Way in Highbridge.
I'm sorry, there was something I couldn't hear your name. If you-
I'm Brian Hodges. I live at 8 Wharton Way in Highbridge. And I would like to say that I have a bit of an outside perspective, but from my outside perspective, I've heard a lot tonight and from stories about how the city handles the homeless, and I can only come up to one conclusion from everything I've heard. Well, one question. Do you guys hate the homeless? Because everything you're doing doesn't actually solve homelessness. It seems like you kind of just want them to suffer and you just let them live because you can't legally get away with letting them die. So, do you hate the homeless? And if the answer is no, you've got to prove that. Otherwise, well, we're going to keep coming back here. And so, I guess there's a question stands. Do you hate the homeless? I don't have much else to say outside.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to address the council?
Okay. That's the question.
Name and address, excuse me. Name and address, please.
My name is Jeremy Sylvia Sincaglia. I live in Edison, and I just want to say that I hope you guys turn back your decision to stop volunteers from volunteering at Code Blue. I think they were doing really great work in helping the homeless. I know if you were to let volunteers come back, I would gladly offer my time to help, and I know a lot of other people would, and we just want to help the people of the city, help the homeless people. That's really it. It's just it's really that simple. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Luke again. So some people have, previously said that the kind of issues around houselessness and your response may be to malpractice or ignorance. I'm just of the simple belief that it's purposeful and that you guys do not see these people as human. In regards to 2021 to 22 budget, Code Blue stayed at 90,000. Youth services was slashed in half from 180,000 to 90,000. And policing and police literally got an extra million, going from 19 million to $20 million. These police protect capital and money and the landlords. They do not protect our citizens. They do not serve us. They respond to crime. They do not prevent crime. They arrest people who are using, who are in need of drug services, who are in need of social services, who are in need in mental health, all of that. But they continue to arrest and abuse these people. In terms of houseless encampments, we can see this across the country. People with the state of Code Blue, and that's the only kind of really shelter that they can get, they're forced to set up tents. They're forced to, at least build some sort of shelter that they can, survive, at least attempt to survive elements, right? These are continuously torn down, belongings are thrown away, medications and valuable documents are never considered. This is across the country, whether it be Los Angeles or, the recently elected Mayor Eric Adams, who has now started to go under the protocol of involuntarily detaining people under mental health concerns, or just whether it be the Code Blue Center. Lights on all the time, dirty sheets, all of that. It really just feels like institutionalization, and that they're treated just like the only really way that you guys want to treat them is with a carceral response.
Hello. For the new council members, my name is Brittany. I'm a Department of Public Waste for the City of New Brunswick driver. So I just want to shed light to add to what these people are saying here today. there's a humanity issue with our department. First of all, I want to take accountability for the last time when I came here and said the word strike, because I didn't mean that, because I was so upset. But we took part in a peaceful protest on our own time to try to shed light to show that we're not against you guys. We just wanted to get the word out there, because coming down here, we don't feel like we're being heard. We're just getting retaliated against. So with that being said, let me show some of these guys how you guys treat your own employees. Number one, the contract was not closed. So you had us following rules from a contract that was not closed, and now they've been threatening the workers with their job if they do not come in. It was raining Tuesday, but Tom Valenti decided to blame me of why these guys didn't come in. But if he was a real department head, he would know that that happens all the time. When the weather is really messed up and these guys need a break, they won't come in. But I got blamed for it because, you know, we don't take accountability when we're in the higher ups. We tend to blame it on other people. So did you know that since he's the department head and he has the title, did you know that 2 people at our company had COVID? Nobody else was told. They're home. And nobody else was told to get tested.
Shame.
Do you know that there's some older workers there that have been at our company for years? If they've accumulated over 150 hours of sick time and they decide to retire, and let's say they have more than 150 hours of sick time, these guys take their money back from the person that earned their sick time. They don't pay them out for it over 150 hours. So does that money go back into the budget, or does it go into your pocket? There was an illegal wellness check that happened when these guys called out of work on Tuesday. There was only 12 guys that called out. And Tom Valenti personally called me and other workers for some sort of wellness check all of a sudden. I've been here for years. I've never received a wellness check. So a little tap into my life. I didn't really need the money. My father has a company with over 150 commercial vehicles, but I had cancer twice over. So I was encouraged to work for the city for the better benefits, and that's what brought me here. It was not my intention to retire here. When I started to get well, you know, I didn't get a wellness check then. We've had guys get run over by the truck, hit by cars. Residents have fought, you know, some of the workers because they don't understand the rules that you guys put in place with the garbage. We've had the supervisor almost lose his hand, you know what I mean, on the truck that wasn't safe, that I've brought up here many times. However, there was no wellness check then, so I would like to know why. Was there a wellness check? Because I said there was some sort of strike going on, but we already did the protest on our own time. I didn't encourage anybody to call out. I don't call out normally. So I'm one of the best workers there. So I also want to put in place that, you know, when we're in the same room and he's the department head, he feels that I'm beneath him or anybody is beneath. He doesn't even speak. So why all of a sudden now would you like to call and do a wellness check? Don't understand that. People that have put in hard work and time, 10 plus years or more, they're leaving this company. That should tell you something. People should want to retire from here, especially having a pension. If all the drivers leave, who's going to pick up your garbage and who's going to shovel the snow? Ask yourself that question. They're offering people here to take their CDL just as a slap in the face to make them stay here. But we're not going to mention the one employee that the mayor just dropped off at our facility to get a job with no job posting, no anything. He just got dropped off there and was able to work. And now he's getting his CDL paid for when he's only been there a few months because he's a friend of the mayor. There's been guys at the company that's been trying to get their CDL for years, and you guys didn't offer to pay for it. So is it the skin color or is it not? I would like to know that, want you guys to know that no matter how hard we work and the time we put in at this company, we're not promoted at all. There is no promotion. It's only your family members or your spouses that you put in positions with no experience to take over the jobs that we've earned. For example, Tom Valenti is supposed to be the director of our department, but he's stealing the salary from the people that really need it.
to start off with saying I'm very disappointed with you council members due to where I don't see you here helping the city get any better. I just see you here covering rear ends, making excuses for the people who are doing the wrong thing that's under your workers. That's the way I really see it. And it's sad to say, due to where every cent you gave Keith Jones a raise. Due to where what? Do you really see him at the meetings anymore? And then one thing I'm going to say where I got it on proof due to a wow, after all you heard, council member now Suzanne Sequoia Ludwig, due to where when he posted on Facebook, wow, do you really think that he's an angel now after all the comments that have come back to her due to where what? Is he taking Cold Blue seriously? Then one thing I'm sad to say, thank you. I thank all of you, and I'm looking toward them due to where, like I said, when I had it on video, I said I wasn't going to put up there, I respect everybody's face, when I told you, when I respect the police, respect people, not the police, when I said about, come on, you're paying the police department too much damn money to sit on their acts. And what did I respected them. I wouldn't put their faces on Facebook, but this is it. Invest in people, not the police, due to where, like I said, why does it take other people to come in due to where, wow, I'm a resident, I see much more than people. Why did it even take this long for you to respond to Cold Blue when me and Mr. Cradle's been talking about this? What, do I have to really show you the evidence? It's very sad. And like I said, do I save too much money? And I will say it again, way too much money is going to New Brunswick Police Department for what? To see what happened damn over the weekend again? Another damn drunk driver crashing on Livingston and Handy, wherever it is. And I thank Carlos Ramirez for putting the video up there for the public to see where, he was on Handy Street in reverse, drunk driving all the way around. My concern was what? Did New Brunswick even lock him up? Wow, how many illegal drivers do you have running through here? But wow, you want to make it that my nephew got caught in Piscataway with driving with no license? Come on, when is New Brunswick going to do their job? Show more safety on Jersey Avenue, French Street, what, 2 more stabbings over there? What, when is the police department going to start trying to make New Brunswick safe? And like I said, due to where, what? You can ask anybody in Cold Blue, do I know him? Do I speak to him? Do I speak to him all the time? Yes, I do. But why did it take for you this long? And it hurts, like I said, as long as we've been saying, is this what Keith Jones been hiding, where he didn't want me and Mr. Crowderville in there to see? But like I said, come on. Things need to be done better. And like I said, it's very disappointing with you council members due to where, like I said, out of a person due to where I provide evidence. But what, I agree with what Brittany said. It's all about the color of your skin due to where how things are being responded in here. And as a resident of 45 years where I see mostly everything, a lot of things, I don't have to be there. But like I said, it's very sad. And like I said, due to where I know Mr. Tom Valenti he works with me good. I know due to where he does have a temper sometimes, but I would like to tell you that was me. I told the workers not to go to work on Tuesday because they need to show up and fight for themselves. And due to where you see that they listen to me, due to where, what, come on, they're being paid, what like slaves, working 7 days a week? And you can ask the workers, did I tell them, do the right thing? I've been going on this, for the past 2 years about come on with the raise. Why still hasn't done it? Didn't I say last year with Juneteenth? Oh, come on, Mayor Cahill believes in Juneteenth. Why don't he give the mayors, the workers a raise? Did he do it? But like I said, please tell me, what are you council members here for? Because you're surely not here to make the city better. And like I said, I've been here 45 years. And the only reason why I continue to stay here, even though housing is getting very seriously, I know what it's like where I've been talking to people due to where, sure, I get a decent income, but what? Like I said, paying even $1,600 a month and everything, it's getting hard. So I can imagine how the homeless are going through too. And like I said, as far as with Cold Blue, Mr. Jones has not been over here at any of the meetings. And like I said at the last meeting, I will say thank you to the police department. They did go around George Street on the speakers, picking people up. But like I said, basically everybody was gone. But why can't they make the announcement due to where people standing and guessing if they're code blue? Look at the video on the building. You will see the people standing there guessing, oh, is it code blue or not? Because everybody does not have Facebook or a telephone.
Hello, my name is Dustin Young. I live at 67 Jones Avenue in New Brunswick. A few things I just want to mention. The police budget was raised by $1 million over the last year. That's less than the entire division of garbage and trash collecting of the DPW workers. That's more than their entire salary of around $800,000 according to the 22 municipal budget. Now those are just numbers, right? But the reality is these are people working 7 days a week, working their ass off, getting paid less than the next town over, doing a lot more work than the next town over. And it seems like the city has the money, they're just not putting it in the right place. You know, because cities just keep on increasing the funding for police, but there's so much else that needs to be done that can be done with that money. And then another thing I want to mention is Code Blue. That seems like extremely corrupt and should definitely be thoroughly looked into. And then also parking tickets that were recently raised. I mean, it's a problem for a lot of people in New Brunswick. It's known for it's a place that you get a lot of parking tickets, and now they're up. You're increasing the cost of living here by increasing these fines, the price of water, and you're making it harder for people to live here. And you're making it harder for your own public employees to work here. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Hi, how are you? My name is Anna Barcy. I live over at 51 Baird Street. And I work at the organization New Labor. I don't know if y'all have heard of them before. Yeah, cool. So it's 6,000 workers, mostly folks who are recently immigrated from Latin America, who probably provided you all of the Christmas gifts and holiday gifts that you received this year, working in logistics industries, warehousing, etc. We've accounted for the working people in this city and the unhoused folks, and the temp agency workers in this city are the same folks who are out. They're like out on the street too at 7 in the morning, right? But they're going to work for you. Right? And I just want to say that listening to Brittany tonight, who I'm so grateful to be here in solidarity with, and we're going to be showing the full force and power of the 6,000 members of New Labor to support the sanitation workers. I think that the conditions that y'all are allowing to transpire in this city are equal to the conditions of temp agency workers, which are some of the most deplorable in the entire country. Right? And it is an intentional system. It is a program system that is meant to exploit undocumented people, black and brown people, and y'all all benefit from it. You, right here, sitting here, watching me, ignoring me, and the people of New Brunswick. I know you're not going to respond to me. I've been to 1 million of these meetings. I've been here way too long. But I have to ask you, how do you not feel shame? Shame. That's my only question. Every single constituency that we accounted for today is being failed by you. And y'all start this meeting, you have the audacity to start this meeting by asking us to behave ourselves? Are you kidding me? Shame. Shame.
I just want to say that in order to conduct business and to have an open dialogue, we need to listen to each other. So when I didn't ask you to behave, I asked you to comply. If it's 5 minutes, and if not, ask for the mission. So at this point, I'm not gonna have a discussion with you. But nonetheless, let's, Mr. Trulis, as I said, for the next 2 weeks, I want to have a full report of what's going on with Code Blue. I was not aware, I don't know if anybody else was aware that volunteers have not been asked to be part of the program. We were asking for volunteers to come out and help, so what's going on now? So I want to know the reason why, and so I want a full report before the next meeting, so I will be prepared to answer the questions that I have. At this point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Castaneda,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Secor Ludwig. Yes. Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.
Oh,